Hello and welcome to the Video Gamer Community Club UK podcast. You ask some questions, we're going to answer them. I'm joined today by Mr. Stephen W. Burns.
Hello.
Mr. Tom Orry.
Hello.
We've done a lot of podcasting today.
Yep.
Let's do more. We're just going to crack straight on with it because, like I say, these are questions that we asked you to send in. You sent them in. We'll go through all of them. If we don't ask your question, it's because it was offensive or rude. Because I did go through some of them, and I think we genuinely upset people. So that's the only reason we won't ask it. But we're going to start with a man named Peter. Thank you very much, Peter. And he's asked, I don't know how we can answer this, but he says, how many Dave pilots are in the works at this moment in time? And if, why isn't it at least 5?
Well,
I mean, there's no Dave pilots. The new one went up today. Jim and Dave Get Sexy.
Yeah,
You can go and see that. And Burns,
Dave's too good for pilots.
He's too good for pilots. What does that mean?
He just goes straight in for the...
Oh, right, because he's going to produce gold.
He gets a full series straight away.
And someone also, Peter wants to know if you're going to find out how Kane and Lynch 2 ends.
well, I know.
How does it end? It's old now. You can
Drop
talk
the
about
camera
it.
and walk off, don't you, in a plane?
It ends...
Is that really what happens? Do you find out who's on the camera?
No.
Oh,
you engage in it because you're trying to get out of Shanghai. You engage in a shootout in a hangar. And then you're like, well, that's fucked it. So now we're going to go and hijack a passenger plane. And it ends with you just running onto a passenger plane like, this can't get any worse.
Really?
Yeah, it's awesome.
So there probably should have been a third game then, really.
Well, I'm not sure how they would have gotten out of that one.
Well, that's true. Good point. Moving on, Daniel Broadby wants to know, in your humble and not so humble opinions, not very nice, which existing franchise needs to die and which dead franchise needs to come back or be resurrected for the current gen?
Kane Lynch?
See, we get this question. We don't usually answer it on the podcast just because we get the normal podcast, for lack of a better term, because we get asked it a lot and I don't know. That's the thing. The only game I really want to see back is RC Pro-Am.
PGR.
Wow.
Oh, PGR as well, actually.
I don't know what should
Really
die,
wants
though.
PGR.
I don't know.
I don't think
I would kill Assassin's Creed.
Yeah,
I think Assassin's Creed needs a year
break.
off. What else needs? The WWE games need a year off.
Maybe Battlefield needs a year off?
They may have. Well, they're not really because Hardline's just come out. I mean, a DICE Battlefield will probably get a year off.
I'd like to see them. I mean, lots of games could do with a break. Like, I'd love to see FIFA given like 2 years.
Can you
to
imagine
make
what
it?
they could do?
Because it doesn't feel like it's evolved enough from last gen.
It's not going to happen though.
No.
That's the problem with all the games we've just
Can't.
mentioned. Is that financials? I think Assassin's Creed took some time off and then came back and then reinvented itself. I may very well be tempted to play it, but in its current state, it's just the same flipping thing every year, and I was like, I don't want to play this
Just
anymore.
playing catch up, aren't they?
That's the problem. But Daniel, the problem you have is that all these companies are publicly traded. They all answer to shareholders and stockholders who
Yep.
get their bonuses off the big games that get released each year. If you don't have that,
There
you
you
don't
go.
get your cash. So, which is fine. That's business. That's corporations. But it is a shame. Ian Breslin writes, Miller, I'm sure you're like me and my mates, and you've created yourself in various wrestling games that have been released. What was your character name, and what were some of the best bits that your mates came up with? In the interest of fairness, mine was Blue Blazer Breslin or Triple B. And the rest of my mates, and one of my mates was Dick McSavage. There you go. I never used to create myself in wrestling. If I did, I was just Simon Miller. I never gave myself I was part of the NWO era. Real names, real attitude, real life.
Yeah.
You got to believe. Tom, ever create yourself in a wrestling game?
No, I created myself in a Tiger Woods game once.
You're just Tom Orry, I guess. Yeah. You could give yourself nicknames in those, though.
Yeah.
Like the Shooter McGavin. No, the only thing I've ever really done in wrestling games that's not considered the norm, although I think by wrestling fans it is, that you work matches in wrestling games, and that's how you get the most. And no one knows this. You get the most out of a wrestling game in multiplayer by letting the match finish after a good sequence of moves. So if someone puts like a big sequence of moves together and then hits their finisher, you don't kick out. You let them pin you.
Oh, okay.
But in the same way, if you pin someone, you know you're going to win, but it wasn't the appropriate finish, you cancel your pin. That's how you get the most out of wrestling games. You work it, just like the product.
Fake it.
There's a feature there, how working wrestling games help me get over my various childhood traumas.
Get over the Montreal screw job. Mr. Waffle says, will Miller Instinct ever come back? Does it need to come back? I don't think it does.
Don't know.
Maybe.
Some
I don't
people
know.
have been asking for it, probably including Mr. Waffles.
We can keep it on the back burner. Doesn't mean it's dead.
No, it's not
One
back
day
yet.
it just come back.
Yeah.
It's like Dead Space. It's
Next.
just-
What?
What? Nothing.
Oh, right. It is like Dead Space. Next time, I don't know. Maybe next week we'll do it. I don't know. It's up to everybody else. I can't really arrange a Miller Instincts, then I'd know the question. It doesn't work. Again, another question about Dave, this time from Alexander Holt, who wants to know if Dave is actually a real person or if it's someone playing the character of David
Yeah,
Scammell.
he's an actor. He is an actor.
Like Carl Pilkington question. But no, he's real. Dave is real. I don't know why he wouldn't be real, but...
Yeah, because it seems It seems so bizarre that a man could have got this far. Like, in Resident Evil games where you just run into other characters and like, how did you survive this long on your own?
Yeah, exactly. Just hanging out.
Like, yeah, just did it.
Oh dear. Karen Kapoor asks, if you guys weren't in the game industry, what would you be? Dead silence. All dead. We'd all be dead. I don't know what.
I'd be something really boring. I'd be like head of customer support on some kind of internet company. It'd be really dull.
I would
Sounds
probably
right.
work for a publisher, no doubt.
Yeah, I guess I would. I don't know what I'd be doing really.
That sounded really arrogant, didn't it? But
Yeah, that's what I'd be doing, man.
That's what I did
Bossing it.
before. That's,
Well, yeah, I was writing instruction manuals for Sony, so I
Same.
guess I would just carry on doing that. But then the opportunity to do this opened up.
We'd have been on NeoGAF. We'd have been the guys going, we've got the inside info.
Can you imagine? I always think about that. Imagine if now, if I'd never sort of done it professionally, would I be a guy on NeoGAF? Maybe I would be. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'd be going that list for shit, mate.
Yeah.
Joshua Hardwick wants to know, do any or have any of you sunk so much time into an MMORPG? And if so, what do you think of the MMO landscape at the moment? Is it a dying genre or something that will always be around, but only for a select few?
No.
I've never...
I played World of Warcraft up to level 10.
That's a lot though, isn't it?
No.
Is it not? How long is that?
That's nothing.
What, 5-6 hours
I
though?
don't know. I played it for about a week in the evenings, and that was the most I've ever done.
Why did you stop?
Because I was bored.
Well, there you go.
There you go.
You never played, right?
No, never played it at all.
I played, what's it called? World of Warcraft for about 20 minutes. I went, no, I never want to play this again.
I got
don't like.
lost. I got lost all the time.
Well, I'm surprised.
The map system back then maybe was different, but I had no clue where I was going.
I didn't like the fact to learn it, you had to, what do you call it, type talk. I'd much rather it had voice chat and someone could just tell me what to do. I got
Yeah.
bored and quit out. It also took me like 2 weeks to download all the updates for it. 2 weeks. Ridiculous. Will Scott. Given that Burns has only appeared in the Given that Burns has only appeared in the extended section of the podcast for the last 2 weeks, does this mean that Stephen W. Burns is now considered premium content?
No.
Well, no, you were in the main one today.
Been
so-
debunked.
Exactly. So that was just, life. He also wants to know, he says, if that is the case, just fucking launch the Lukes now. Humanity is lost.
Well,
Do you agree?
no, it probably would be better. It would be found. Humanity found.
I've just skim read this one because, like I said, there's so many questions, we couldn't read them all. So we may be repeating this one, but I'll give you a shout out anyway. Sean Mooney says, if you had the power, what existing IP would you take off the original dev team and give to another in the hope they would make a great game with it? For example, give Platinum Games the Shinobi license or a Judge Dredd game in the GTA mold made by Rockstar North. Fucking hell, that was a weirdly worded question.
Yeah. So I can totally understand a Platinum Shinobi game.
Yeah.
In fact, I can see it's just Revengeance, right? With
Pretty much.
Shinobi. Well, I would like to. Do you know what? I'd take the FIFA license and I would just slot it into PES, and there you are.
That's interesting.
Well, yeah, because the only thing PES doesn't have over FIFA is the license.
I guess so. I would like to give something to Rocksteady. Just give them all the superhero games, actually. Just let them... Spider-Man's too... The thing with Batman is it's dark and twisted and evil. That's why it works. I don't know. What games do I like? Gears of War.
But usually there are very few games where you play them and you go, and if you like them, you go, oh, okay, I wish someone else had made this. Like,
Yeah.
You can talk about it in general, like, oh, I'd have liked it if they'd taken developer X's system for Y, but not just give all of it to these guys.
A few years ago, I would have said give Batman to Rockstar because then they would have made an open world Batman game. But that's happening now anyway. So
Pretty much.
About Resident Evil to Tango.
Yes,
That's
actually.
basically Resident Evil going home.
Well,
then.
yeah, pretty much. Although, like I said, I'm playing Revelations at the moment, just playing the last chapter. It's okay. There's another mansion. Spoiler alert.
Was it episode 4 you're playing?
Yeah.
There's 2 other episodes as well, right?
There are extra episodes.
What do they do? What do you get in those?
I'm not even sure if we can. Well, we must be able to say. Actually, the embargo went for those extra episodes and such this morning. You play as Natalia and someone else. I'm not sure on the exact
kind of
details,
stuff,
but
though.
yeah, I think episode 4 closes off the whole story, and these are side stories.
Okay.
So I'm not onto them yet. Just doing episode 4.
Okay. Ben Wilcox says, do you think this generation of consoles, and I think he means PS4 and Xbox One, has been a letdown so far? The visual improvements are nice, but when the best games on my PS4 are GTA 5 and The Last of Us Remastered, I can't help but feel a bit disappointed.
I think this is one of those things where it's often, the charge often levied against us is that we don't pay for games. And so we don't know, we just get games sent to us, and so we don't know what, essentially what it's like to go out and pay for stuff. No, I dispute that because I still know how much, stuff's worth. But I think in terms of stuff to play, not just pounds that have gone out of your bank account, but have I got anything to play on my machine?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, the answer is yes, we have, because we've got dozens of games knocking around. But if you've got to go out and pay for them, and then there's a big gap between when they come out or whatever, I totally understand why people will be like,
it's a bit quiet. I also think there's a big hangover from last gen stuff. Like I think a lot of people, because people are so desperate to take advantage of a huge market, which there is on Xbox 360, PS3, you maybe don't invest all your money right now into new gen experiences.
No, but Bloodborne's coming.
I think Bloodborne will start it. I think E3 will cement it. And I think by the end of the year, that's it. All the Xbox 360 and PS3 from a AAA point of view are dead. And 2016, you'll get a lot of games. A lot of games, maybe too many. You won't be able to play them all. Yeah. Do you agree, Tom?
Yeah, although I don't think I'd go back now to not having a PS4 and Xbox One.
No. Oh, no, definitely not. That's the other thing as well, yeah. I mean, I don't really mind because the thing is, GTA 5, I really enjoyed in first person. It was a reason to... I didn't play the whole thing, but a reason to put a few more hours into it. And The Last of Us is just The Last of Us. I think it's the best game in a long, long time. So, I think it's good because if you didn't play it on your PS3, it's weird. It gives you the experience, it gives you the chance to play a good experience on your PS4, even though there's a PS3 one. I think that's kind of good because not everyone played on PS3.
Yeah.
I don't know. Karen Kapoor is back and he says, what bad habits of the game industry do you think should die? For me, day one DLC.
Well, yeah. There's just thousands.
Where do you start? I know.
One of the ones that I would like to see removed is the whooping in the press box at E3. We've been there, Miller, and it's just every time. And what was that? What was that game for Xbox One that got canned? What was it? It was. What was it called? Oh,
Which one?
It was an update of an old Xbox game.
Oof, I do not know.
And it was.
They were going to update an old Xbox game.
Yeah, they had two people running at each other. And what was it called?
It
just recently.
Phantom Dust.
Yeah.
They cancelled
I'm not
that.
sure they canned it. They moved studios or something.
Oh, okay, right. Anyway, who gave a shit about that? And then the whole room, was going, it's happening. And like, what's happening? Nothing. So that's got to stop.
I totally
DLC.
agree. Well, people not treating video games as if you're watching a sport would be nice. Because it's just like sometimes you're like, we don't think this really. But I think that may be an American thing more than a video game thing. Because I remember going to the cinema once when I was at E3. I don't know why I felt like I needed to go to the cinema when I was in America, just because I was in America. And everyone whooped and hollered at all the trailers.
Yeah, that makes me mad.
Yeah. So, I mean, what else do I hate in video games right now? I mean, the day one patch is bad. I don't like the fact that developers can think, we don't have to get our game finished. Because there's still people out there that don't have internet connections.
Yeah.
They may surprise to hear you, but they do exist.
Well, sorry. What I've got to say about this, you may have seen me tweeting about it the other day because I was so mad. My friend Dave moved into his new flat. The internet hadn't been installed yet.
He's died. Dead.
So I was like, okay, well, we'll play. The only way to play FIFA on Xbox One with two players who have different control schemes is to have another profile signed in. Go to sign a profile and it goes, well, no, because you're not connected to the internet. You haven't saved your password. And I was thinking, no, this has got to die. So we had to tether the phone. I'm like, come on. What? Yeah, what is this? So, yeah, bugs like that. That's got to go.
Tom,
like
kill anything you want.
Everything being launched at the end of the year.
Yeah, good shout.
Yeah, that's a very good shout.
Microsoft are bad for this, I think.
Yeah.
Like you look at what they've got other than Scream Ride and Ori, which is a downloadable game, they've got nothing until September, October?
We don't even know, do we? Nothing's confirmed in terms of release dates. We know Halo is this year. We don't know when. I mean, probably September, but they haven't confirmed it. So.
It's almost like they're still going for that classic no one plays video games in the summer because they're all children and they're all out playing football.
That's why I'm so happy Batman is coming out in June. That is such a good game. When everything's going to be quiet down, Batman's going to drop. And I'll be like, yeah. I don't really have an answer to this one. I guess I'll go with the, I can't what the hell it's called, the chainsaw gun from Gears of War. But Stefan C. Bauer asks, your most enjoyable weapon to use in a game? And why? What's it called, the chainsaw gun? The game I love the most?
The Lancer?
The Lancer, of course. I can't remember what it's called. That's kind of fun.
I thought I was wrong there. Like, he kind of forgotten this.
It's the Magnum from Resi 5. That's probably my favourite gun ever in a game. So satisfying.
Yeah, it's very satisfying. I reckon, in terms of overall favourite, possibly the Magnum from the original Resident Evil, because that's the gun that changes the power dynamic in the game.
Exactly.
After like 5 hours of being terrified.
Yeah, I'm in control.
Lots of stuff from Resident Evil, but I think recently that the shotgun from Wolfenstein, once you get it upgraded to scatter shot.
You're right, it's good, isn't it?
The shotgun from Doom as well.
Most shotguns, I think.
Best shotgun ever.
Yeah, most shotguns. Joshua Hardwick, what are your favourite genres of games? And has this changed over time? And can you identify any core elements that have persisted through the change? Mine's RPGs. RPGs are my favourite ones because I enjoy good narrative in games, and mostly you find good story in RPGs. Has it changed over time? No, I like shooters and RPGs. Always like shooting RPGs. And then the odd game comes along that just wins me over anyway. I play anything though. But if someone said you could only pick a genre, it'd probably be RPGs.
Yeah, I think it's dangerous to disregard stuff because it's not in a genre that you.
That's the thing.
don't
Most games
necessarily
kind
like.
of cross over everything now anyway.
Yeah.
Like Dragon Age Inquisition is an RPG in the traditional sense, but it does a lot more than just that. So do most other games.
It's generally less about the genre and more about what the game itself is about. I mean, I played quite a bit of Flappy fucking Bird. And you know what? People hated that game, and they probably hated it because they didn't think of it. I quite enjoyed it. Yeah, I mean, a lot of it was bollocks, but at the same time, I got it. You know, you get the appeal of it. But, you know, if you'd have told me before, yeah, Steve, by the way.
Play that game almost every other day because it's the icon
Flappy
is
Birds?
next to the icon on my phone for WhatsApp.
I thought it was dead Flappy Birds.
So
Did
I
it come back?
accidentally,
If you keep it on-
I accidentally
keep it
click
installed.
I accidentally
course.
click it every other day almost, and I give it a go, and I
Yeah.
get like 3.
So now I play on. It's not the question now, but a mobile game, Super Stickman Golf. That's a
Yeah.
flacking good game.
Yeah, I got
tell
that.
ya. So good, so good. I'm going to pronounce your name wrong, and I'm really sorry, but I'm an asshole. Ollie Viberg Dalkvist. Number 1, where are the postcards? They're being sorted out right now. Number 2, will we see the return of Miller Instinct? We chatted about that. The Scammel Jam. The hell was the Scammel
I
Jam?
can't remember what that was.
It was pretty much the same thing, wasn't it?
And the Tomori Minute.
No, Tom It's dead, isn't it?
Okay, number 3, whatever that video was called where Jim and Steve sat at a table shitting on NeoGAF. Will we see more of that? Do you want to do more?
Lunchtime entitlement.
Yeah, I think it was that one, yeah.
Well, we spoke briefly.
The description of that is amazing.
We spoke briefly about pilots, and you know, with the Patreon stuff, we're obviously so glad that we now have the ability and the time and the money to go and do these things. But some of them work better than others. I think Lunchtime Entitlement was quite good, but it was also quite weird, and it can't be as like a really regular thing because it needs stuff to happen before you do it.
I think you'll do it again. I imagine.
We will do
had
it.
a big
I
chat
think
about it
it'll be
afterwards.
shorter.
Yeah, we had a big chat, and then he also says, "Where are the postcards?" Which is a wry joke. But they're coming, my friend, I promise. Pip says, with millions of remasters still being released, what would you remaster from before the last generation, i.e. before PS3, 360, Wii? Straight away.
Joking. I'd buy that.
I tell you what, before the Twilight Princess came out on the GameCube, I'm well up for playing Twilight Princess again, but I'd like a nice new shiny version because it came out at a very awkward time when it crossed gens. I'd be up for playing that again. A Skyward Sword, that's Wii, I can't do that. Otherwise, I don't need Link to the Past. They made Link Between Worlds. I don't know.
It's difficult, really.
Most games before that well, no, that's not true at all. But some games you would like to remaster don't need to be remastered because they still work.
I know they've done it in HD already, but Shadow of the Colossus, but done properly, like a proper remake.
Where it's not,
Because that other thing's not happening, is it? So they might as well do this.
Yeah. Maybe as well, not like a complete remake, but a nice remaster in the same visual style of Vice City and San Andreas.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because if you go too high, then it loses that cartoony appeal,
which it needs.
aesthetic of
And
that gen.
I'd probably take another version of Resident Evil 4 as well. Because we got the PC version, didn't we, with like 60 FPS and stuff. That hasn't been on consoles yet, so put that on PS4, I'll buy that as well.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think what games came out. Super Mario Sunshine. Oh, I bet you can still
have you
play
seen
that,
it in
though.
Dolphin?
Is
In the
it?
Dolphin emulator, it is incredibly good looking. But then all
love
Nintendo games generally are.
It's art style, isn't it?
Yeah.
Smart motherfuckers. Simon asks, from where I'm sitting, getting serious now, the Video Gamer Patreon project seems to be a success. Video Gamers' YouTube offerings are unique and entertaining. What are the team's feelings on the state of their competitors' output? And do you think it is harder to be heard amongst increasing background noise of Let's Play Dross? Do some navel gazing for us, would you? I'd like to point out, with the Let's Play Dross, this is my opinion, you don't have to agree, but don't get taken away just by the title Let's Play. A lot of people are actually doing very good content, but they use the term Let's Play because YouTube picks it up and it gets seen by more people. It's just a title, so don't always be put off by that. What do we think about competitors? I would say this is all us talking from a personal perspective to cover our asses.
I'd say ours is better than everyone else's.
I would say I dislike 99% of things that are on YouTube. I'm joking. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, we do what we do because we think that it's good. You know, you can only do stuff that you think is good, and if other people like it, then so be it. And I guess, look at me like a politician, because we do that
Doing the
stuff.
Obama point.
Exactly, because we do that stuff, and we would argue that other people don't do that stuff. This is the kind of content we would prefer to see from our competitors.
When you think about the direction that we've gone. It's not like everyone just sat down and went, right, let's just do loads of this sort of stuff. It evolves, and it evolves out of the personalities you have. And I would say that if we didn't like or weren't engaged by a lot of the other stuff by our competitors, that would only be because their styles, their people, they're not really the stuff that we want to watch. And I think that's fairly obvious in our own output. So
yeah, I think that's that. I mean, you can't shit on anyone really because they're doing what they think is good for them.
It's in line with their own parameters, really,
which is what we do. But at the same time, it's fucking bollocks. Paul Byron asks a lot of remaster questions. What features would you like to see in future remastered games to make them more worthwhile? The Halo Master Chief Collection seemed to have a lot of offer for a remaster. It didn't work. Could other publishers try harder? I know what he means. Like the Devil May Cry thing's kind of
more
quite
tinkering.
Smart. Yeah, because you couldn't. That basically puts the power in players' hands and go make the game how you want it. I think that's quite nice.
I'd like to have like a playlist mode. So if I took Resident Evil,
yes, that's very good.
Play. I mean, it's a bit difficult because it's non-linear, but I could play certain things from it. So I could do, these levels, and then they would load into other ones. And it's easy to do a game like Halo, so you could do half of Halo 2.
They do that, don't they? Yeah,
and then into another one. But I'd like to be able to just tailor the experience, because a lot of games have really shit sections in them.
Yeah,
and also just be able to skip from the start to any part of the game.
They should all have that. They should all have that. I understand when you first release it, you don't want to do that because people are precious and which is fine. I'd be the same. But once you've done it and you're buying it again, it's because you want it best of, isn't it? You want to play those bits. I would love that. That's what I'd want more than anything. Or like deleted scenes. I don't like an extras bit where you can get in and just play. Okay, it's going to be buggy as fuck, but who cares?
I think I just want more of what the film industry does after, when it releases on DVD, and especially years later, when they have the principles involved and they tell you, even if things went bad, they'll explain why. Like The Godfather Part 3, on the DVD, it's them going, I only did this for money. Excuse me?
But it's true, even on the in the Batman and Robin extras, where they all say sorry. Every interest was so sorry for this movie. It's great because it makes you feel better about the atrocities of that film, but also you feel like you're part of a special club. Oh, I'm not supposed to know this, and they've let me in.
And director's commentaries, which Valve do really well for their games, to show you how they built out certain mechanics in it.
Do you want anything, Tom?
No, I agree with Burns.
Okay, cheers. Paul Byron says, are you all learning Swedish? No, we have been bought up by a Swedish company, but no one is learning Swedish. You going to learn Swedish?
No.
No? Burns? No. Right, there we go. Harry Jan, that name. This week, or last week, sees the release of Hotline Miami 2. It has a good soundtrack. Several games do not. What music do you usually listen to when gaming, and do certain genres inspire you to listen to certain tracks, albums, bands? No. It's more to me, I'll notice the music when it's good, then try and buy the soundtrack, but never vice versa. I think the soundtracks that I bought, I'm sure there's more, but I bought the Shadow of the Colossus one. I actually bought the Valiant Hearts one recently. I just think it's really nice. Yeah, what do you call it? Orchestral music. I can't think of any more I bought. I'm sure there's more, but I cannot think of the top of my head.
But Hotline Miami's not score, is it?
No, it's actual real music, isn't it? It's basically an album that's...
Which is fine, but some people play like shooters with like listening to music, don't they?
Do they?
So they can get in, into the flow state a bit better.
I used to do it quite a lot on the original Xbox, because back then that was like a new feature, wasn't it? Put your own music on the background.
Oh yeah,
so
custom
stuff
playlists.
Like MotoGP, I used to play that quite a lot.
You sound like you hate MotoGP.
Well, on the Xbox, it was quite good. The first one, I used to put like Foo Fighters on and stuff.
I guess that
made
sense,
it more exciting.
I remember once. This is really weird. I was replaying The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. Probably my third time I ever played it through again. And I don't even like this kind of music. So why I decided to listen to it, I listened to The Thrills. Do you remember The Thrills?
Yeah.
The album was there. I think my mum had bought it. And I put it on and I sat there, listened to the whole album while just going through. It was the... what temple was it? I can't remember. Just going through one of the temples. What the fuck was I doing? Bizarre.
Yeah.
I was like 16. That's very strange. Max, I don't think we can answer this, but I'm not going to not ask the question. Max Lecar says, I'm thinking of visiting Scotland this summer. Where do I go and what do I do? And he says, 2 weeks, the law is not a problem, and neither is money. So I'm worried what he wants us to tell him. I guess Jim would be a better person to answer that as a resident or a former resident of Scotland. I've only been to Scotland once. It seemed very nice. I had some fish and chips. That was about it.
Yeah. Just go to Edinburgh.
Do that.
That's
I don't think I've ever been further north than Stoke.
Okay. Oh, no, I played that venue once that everyone plays in. King Tut's. Go to King Tut's. They got some good bands on. There you go. Urmagard. Oh, geez, come on, Miller. Says, any chance of getting some women on the VG video / podcast team? And I've answered this before, of course. But, you know, the last time we had a position opening, which was Jim's position, all men applied. So it's difficult to, you know, it's not a specific choice at all by Team Video Gamer. It's just we can only, hire the people that apply. But, we had Emily, 2 years ago?
Probably more than that.
Probably more. Yeah. Emily Geary, who now works at Polygon, she was here. And, of course, in the future, if we have openings, all are welcome. Martin de Grusa says, serious question time. Here we go. Recently, it was announced that that Candy Banana are the new owners of Video Gamer. Will this make a change to the way things are done, or have they said everything will continue as normal? And are you happy about the new ownership? Non-serious question, what's your favourite cheese? Serious question, no, nothing changes. I'm sure Tom can back that up.
No, nothing. They wouldn't. Well, for one, like I still have my ownership of Video Gamer. So I'm still here and I own what I used to own. And no, they wouldn't have taken over part of the company without wanting to keep it as it was.
No, because it's the appeal, isn't it?
To take something on and then change it.
Because you assume you like the way it's going.
Yeah.
Favourite cheese? Cheddar. I'm really boring, but mature cheddar.
Yeah.
Or halloumi. Halloumi's pretty good.
Halloumi is
Great
amazing.
halloumi. Nando's.
Oh no, call Nando's immediately. Ruined.
Oh no, hang on. The one I missed. Paul says 1080p or 5.1. He's got a lot of other stuff, but I think he's just basically saying resolution or sound.
1080p.
Depends.
Because I haven't got 5.1. It's a right nightmare to set up.
Yeah.
He goes with 5.1.
It is good,
says
though.
Destiny's
I used to
amazing.
have surround sound when I had like a living room I could do whatever I wanted with.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I think I'd go for sound. Thinking about it.
It depends generally on, like, for example, Hotline Miami 2. You definitely want better sound than, visuals.
Yeah, exactly, because there's no way of difference. Okay. Russell says, did Dave ever want it to end? No idea. Maybe, I guess.
Dave's dead now.
Yep. Peter McAllister, another one like this. How have things changed at Video Gamer since the Patreon, and how are you finding the new workload? Not gonna lie, it's a lot of work. Some days it's like, oh my gosh, but nothing's changed really. It's just more content.
I'd say it's a lot of more interesting work though, because it gives you the freedom to just go, right, now I'm going to build this Lego. Like, your kind of hand was forced on the Lego thing, but the Patreon gives the freedom to go, well, we can now do X.
Well, lunchtime entitlement as well may have been something we had not necessarily, we would have done it, but maybe we would have procrastinated over it a bit first. Like, should we do this? But this is a great way to go, let's just do it. We think it's good, So I think it's a plus for everybody, really. It allows us to be more creative and it allows us to make more content. It is a lot of work, but, a bit of work never killed anyone. Trafalgar asks, is Jim Trinker really an actual person, or is it just, I can't pronounce, the dude from Final Fantasy with a fake beard trying to mess with all of us? That guy. Oh no, he's Sharagorath. He means the dude from Elder Scrolls. Sorry.
Right.
I mean Sephiroth from Final Fantasy. Just missed that one. I feel bad asking this, Tom, but some guys asked it. Michael Mealer has said, "Why is Tom Ori's mouth so small?"
Yeah, I don't
think it's that small. I never noticed it.
I don't know why it's so small.
I heard this and I thought it was just some weird joke.
That's something that I complain to my mother about all the time.
I've never noticed that you noticed. I'm looking at you right now. You don't.
It's her fault.
True, but I don't think you do.
That's weird.
I have a small mouth. I've kind of got over it, but then every now and again it comes back. And
it's like my bald head.
What? Right, next question. Just give me a fair. Never noticed that in years.
No, I haven't. Paul Byron. Forza Horizon 2 is getting a free Mazda car pack, which is obviously a sponsorship from Mazda wanting to promote their new car. Also, Mario Kart's doing it. What other sponsored free DLC could we see for games? Well, cars the obvious one. Clothing, in like your golf games or whatever. Get some Nike shoes, probably.
There's loads of that already, though, isn't there?
Yeah, music they could do, drinks. You can do anything. Depending on the game you've got and the setup that you have, you can work anything into a game without people realising. So.
There'll probably be more of it as it goes on as well. Hashtag brands, isn't it?
Yeah, well, as games get bigger and bigger and bigger and more popular and become more mainstream and, agents and marketing people get involved, they'll always go that way. John Marquez, I don't think that's how you pronounce your name, but I like the idea of making you Mexican. Not the most interesting question, but when you guys aren't making your own content, are there any videos, podcasts that you all like watching, listening to, be it on your own time or in the office? I listen to the Laps Fan Wrestling Podcast. And it's the greatest podcast. Genuinely, the best podcast I've ever heard. If you are a Laps fan of wrestling or a current fan, I strongly advise it. No one else listens to anything else.
The only thing I've ever watched really kind of like as a fan for other people's work for gaming is like the old One-Up stuff.
Oh, that was fantastic.
The
Yeah,
One-Up
Shane
podcast
Benhausen and all that guys.
The video stuff they did. That was the only thing I ever really, and that was like when they did podcasts like 3 hours long.
They were trendsetters in many ways, those One-Up guys.
Yeah,
they were kind of doing what we're doing now, but a long time ago. So
I just read a lot. I don't have time.
I guess that counts. That's still, I mean, it says your own content. So
No, I read like Bloomberg Business Week, mate.
I don't watch anybody else's videos. I watch Bro Science Life every now and then, which is a bodybuilding thing. But other than that, I don't think there's anyone I tune into like once a week or whatever for their stuff.
Certainly not in gaming. Like, we'll keep abreast of the competitors.
Yeah, I watch it but in my personal time, I do not think there's anyone. I mean, I sometimes watch PewDiePie stuff to see if I actually get it, and I never get it, and I walk away confused. So I don't do that much anymore. Sam Wood says, what is the most inappropriate plot and gameplay combo that you've ever come across? That game Dave and Jim was playing the other day, up there.
Sonic Bestiality angle, it's got to be
Oh,
there.
yeah, and the Sonic the Hedgehog was 6, but it didn't have the 6 on it. When he just kissed a girl.
Yeah, there was a lot of... I mean, I think when you look back on a lot of video games, you're going to start finding that a lot of them are incredibly inappropriate.
Fahrenheit, when he has sex with a dead person. It's a bit weird.
Just in terms of representation of women and minorities and stuff like that, I still think that the Gears of War's representation of black people is
it's questionable, isn't it?
It's hugely questionable.
And they get away with it somehow. I never understood that. I like Coltrane as a character, but if you actually take a step back, it's incredibly offensive.
Yeah, and Anya, and it's like, I remember the lead up to Gears 3, and they're like, yeah, we've got a strong female. It's like, but she's wearing a bra.
And
you know what I mean?
Is in love with Marcus Phoenix.
Yeah.
Don't forget that. It's a secret love interest of the entire game.
Yeah, there's so many games where that's the issue.
Tom, anything that's offended you as you've gone through your video game journey?
Recently, the crew has got terrible. The way they depict women is awful. Like, they're all like tight shirts. One scene, one of them walks in, the man just turns around and stares at her ass as she walks past.
BMX XXX.
Or any video game advert from the mid-90s.
Yes.
Again, I don't get this one, but I'll ask it because we said we would. Michael Woolacott says, Dave, now I know I keep asking, but to no luck, and I know you're the man to talk to sort this out. Video gamer community Weatherspoons Weekender. When is it happening? Tweet him at VG_Dave. Has he got an underscore in it? It's just at VG Dave.
Yeah.
At VG_Dave. Right, Burns, this is for you. Ryan Morris. I really enjoyed the attention to detail in Alien Isolation and how they've really managed to capture the look and feel of the late 70s, early 80s sci-fi. What game series would you like to see get thrown back into another era of film? I.e., I would like to see an 80s themed Elder Scrolls spin-off that would have a very never-ending story, labyrinth vibe going for it. I'm out.
I mean, that's almost 2 to 5 different questions and statements. The first one is Alien Isolation's attention
I
to
thought it was going to
details.
be about that.
It's because they had all that promotion, they had all the production material. So if you, I suppose...
So you want a labyrinth game that's like the Elder Scrolls?
I suppose that question is, would you, what aesthetics and styles would you like?
Saying that, if they did a Gears of War that was like, what was that Far Cry spin-off? Blood
Dragon.
Blood Dragon. That would probably be quite funny. Because it's all dude bro anyway. And you throw it into the 80s as well. So something like that would be quite good.
An Assassin's Creed game where you play the Goonies. There you go.
Yeah, you see, okay. I think we've been too unfair on Ryan Morris. He's actually got quite a good idea.
I think they should just do a really authentic version of Moonwalker.
An authentic version?
Like a really...
the movie.
The movie, yeah.
Which you now know is completely unwatchable. And
You mean the Michael Jackson?
Yeah.
I mean, I saw it.
I haven't seen it very long. I remember the bit when he dances with the rabbit.
Videos.
It's just a fat man on mini motorcycles.
Oh, yeah, so fucked
He
up.
turns into a car. There's a globe full of spiders. It's just, he's got mental illness. Clearly, this man is.
But what do you
lost
want
it.
from it?
I want like the
I don't get
Creative
it.
Assembly. They can do it.
Oh, you mean like
authentic
Moonwalker Isolation?
Yeah.
Okay.
We had to hide from Michael Jackson.
Kyra J, are any of you fans of the Vita and what are your thoughts on its future? Talked about it in the podcast earlier. good high-end gadget. We'll continue to.
The only problem with, and the reason I don't use it anywhere near as much, is because the storage issues. Like,
Yeah.
every time I use it, I think, I'll play that new game, and I think, I've got to just do some storage management first, and I know it can't be asked anymore.
Yeah. The PS Vita for me is, it just doesn't have any good games on it. I know there are good games on it, but I mean,
It doesn't have any good games on it.
no, it doesn't, because there are good games. There aren't games there that I want to play. I don't want to play Uncharted. I don't
What
want to
about
play
that
FIFA.
Rogue Legacy?
Yeah, but I'd play that on PS4.
Yeah, but it's a good game, Miller.
Yeah, but it's not PS Vita bespoke. It just
Fine.
happened to
There
be
are some
put on
games
it.
which are lauded as being better. Hotline Miami really kind of took off on a lot of people's
Yes. Yeah, that's true.
estimation because of the Vita version. But no, I've got one. In fact, I've got two. I've got the work one and my own one on my desk, and it just. I used to play FIFA on it a lot, but now I'm like, no, I want to play PES now.
Greg Shepherd, how funny will it be if Star Citizen is terrible? It will not be funny, Greg. The end of days will be coming if that happens.
That will be the end of everything.
Yeah. Amy Flute, I was really disappointed. There is not going to be a sequel. I don't agree with you, Amy. I'm sorry. To the criminally underrated Enslaved Odyssey to the West. Which games did you all love and wish had been successful enough to generate a sequel prequel?
I'd like
P.S.
a
You're doing a
sequel to
great job,
Enslaved.
lads. Keep it up. Thank you, Amy.
I'd like a sequel to that.
I hated that
I liked
game.
it.
I thought it was absolute
It's good.
garbage. But I mean, well, Beyond Good and Evil, because although they've announced it, it's not real. Otherwise, most of my games, I'm lucky. They get a sequel. I like a sequel to Here Comes the Pain.
Yes. No, I would just like Here Comes the Pain remastered.
Yeah, exactly. Otherwise,
PGR.
yeah, PGR again. No, there's nothing that's.
I'd
been
like a
killed.
really well-built Alpha Protocol 2.
I still need to play a game, Never played it properly, but
Probably
I'd
don't
love
play
it.
it now, though.
No, I'd like it.
Yeah.
Maybe too long.
Play on PC. Is it on PC?
Yeah.
Because play on PC because the last generation version.
I don't think you have to answer this, but I'll ask it because that's the rules. Kif, have you ever done anything so terrible it haunts you when you try to sleep? If so, what?
What?
Yeah, we'll move on. Andy Strange, have any of you been caught gawping or aroused at a sexy image or scene in a video game? That was aimed at Dave. We'll get him to answer that on the next one. Darren Worrell, how the fuck does Jim know Rufus Hound? Rufus Hound's a fan of Jim.
Yeah.
Just one of those things. He's just a human. Jim's a human.
He
They became
really
buddies.
likes video games, doesn't he?
He
likes
does.
video game
and he
stuff.
liked Jim on Game Wank, and then he likes him here. Just one of those things. Lucky man. Morgan Williams, if you're all in the MCU, which superhero would you all be, and which villain would Burns be?
I wouldn't be in it. If I woke up tomorrow and I was in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I'd kill myself.
I would, 'cause it's not Batman.
I'd just be like, not this shit.
Fucking hell.
People would be mad about my portrayal of, I don't even know any of the fucking characters in it. Fucking
Oh,
Dick
no,
Munch.
No. Tom, you want to be on from Marvel?
I'll be that guy from Guardians of the Galaxy. Chris Pratt.
I'll be Chris Pratt. Right, done. Ross Kennedy, have you ever been embarrassed, ashamed when your partner / loved one has seen you playing a particular video game or a moment in one? I think so.
No, but Lydia did see a pilot or the first thing that we did of something and then turned to me and said, "Is this what you do?" And I said, "Well, yes." And we win awards for it. So off you go.
Oh, dear. Well, I mean, I don't think. I mean, there are some games you could play that would be incredibly embarrassing, but I don't think I've ever played them. So, and no one ever really walks on me when playing games.
No.
Like,
I do know people who have been, who I think it was Dave Cook. He was playing Bioshock Infinite, and at the start when you plunge that hook thing into the guy's face.
yeah.
Apparently his girlfriend just went, "What the fuck is this?"
Well, yeah, it's
It's
kind
just
of a
like,
fair question.
Well, yeah, right.
I think I mostly close the door if I'm playing a scary game. I'm going to do it with the original Bioshock, but that was mostly because everyone tried to jump in at me. I felt protected. Other than that, I don't think I'll do much. Mike Pierce, what are the chances that Bethesda will announce release an HD version of Skyrim for current gen consoles at their big E3 press conference?
Dunno.
0.
Doesn't seem likely, does it? I think
They can't.
They've missed out a load of money.
But they can't do it now if they're going to talk about Fallout because I think you eat into your Fallout market because those games are so similar. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm pushing those two
I think
franchises
they
too close
should have
together.
done it, but I don't know.
Last year.
Seems like it's
end of last
it's
year.
running out of time for that.
Yeah.
This is the best name yet. Oscar James Martin O'Regan. We need to change our names. Right, this is a big one. I'll probably get a lot of this wrong. Are satirical gaming channels a niche product as Video Gamer and others like it have a small percentage to channels like GameSpot, I think he means GameSpot, and IGN? I see Inside Gaming / Funhouse as an American version of Video Gamer, and even with the backing of Machinima / Rooster Teeth, they still only have a percentage of the subscribers of the parent companies. Do the majority of gamers... hang on. Do the majorities... Oh my gosh, sorry, Oscar, it's a bit oddly worded. Do the majority of game journalist channels stop? Thanks if you read out the comment and keep up the great content. I don't know what that last bit meant. But I think the difference is that IGN has a bigger a mass of people because it has a wider its advertising is huge. So people know IGN. So they're kind of, even before this big influx of YouTube and subscribers and things like that, IGN were already the poster boy. They're already sat on top. So people would just fluctuate to them. What I would say is if you, not necessarily IGN, but definitely GameSpot, if you look at what's so mean, I'm sorry, Oscar, if you look at how many subscribers they have to how many people watch their videos, a lot of people will just subscribe to GameSpot because it's GameSpot. They're not necessarily interested in the content they're releasing. So, I wouldn't see satirical gaming channels like us as a niche. I think we're a growing product, and I think that, it's all about, it's mostly about engagement and, retention and things like that. And I think we do quite well in those areas. So
that's just the same sort of difference as to, why is certain comedy not as big as just something like factual or whatever, because more people will like IGN. When I think about when I wasn't in the industry, when I was about 15 years old and the internet was really kind of taking off, IGN was a destination,
exactly,
because
that's where you went.
And then the same with 1UP and all of that, and even GameSpot for a little while, until I got quite bored of them. But I think what's happening is that people are getting not bored, but they want something different, and you can't get our stuff really anywhere else.
Exactly,
so hopefully that will just grow and grow as people think, all right, I can go to 5 different sites for what they do, but I can only go here for video game stuff.
Exactly. Tom, any thoughts on IGN or bigger websites, quote unquote?
IGN and GameSpot, I used to read it all the time when I was a kid, because they existed basically when the internet started. They've been around for so long.
That's what it is. So
you had no other. They were your sites to go to, and they obviously have been around for so long that they've got a massive audience. They do the odd good video content, like GameSpot, particularly the UK team. Like they do some good stuff now and again. Like their Skyrim stuff's quite cool. But no, I mean, for like we do stuff that's I don't think would go on any other website.
No, I think I think. Although it's blown up, I still think, YouTube is evolving and changing. And I would like to think in the future we'll be, we're compared to IGN right now, but maybe more in terms of a numerical scale. Mike says, considering it is 2015 and there are millions of free-to-play and cheap indie games to choose from, why are websites like Miniclip still a thing? That's going to be games you can play in your browser. That's why. Work. Don't have to do it. Also, did you have any particular favourites from the online flash gaming era? I'd have to go with Helicopter Assault 2. Didn't really ever... a lot of golf games.
That one where you used to like crash and then fly through the air. What was that one?
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
She was on the make a woman on a bike or something. And then you'd have to bounce
and there was the kind of similar one, like the skiing one.
Yeah.
When I was at uni, this is what you were saying about playing it in a browser. Because in the bad old days of Royal Holloway, they didn't have fucking wireless internet in some of the dorms because they were too old. So
screw you.
So I had to go to the computer center. I mean, it just seems like 1,000 years ago now to be saying things like that. But me and my friend Ash would go there while we were revising for exams or whatever, and then every now and then we'd play stick cricket.
I remember that one, yep.
We were pissing ourselves at stick cricket and Sean Baby and a lot of that, so much that the next day there was a blanket ban on Miniclip and a little note on both our machines saying, guys, can you shut the fuck up, please? It's exam season.
Shut down.
Oh, okay.
Corey Davis says, if you had to sell all of the current consoles you own except one, which would you choose to keep and why? For me, it's between the PS4 and the new 3DS XL. I'm looking forward to the big releases on the PS4 later in the year, but Monster Hunter is currently taking all of my time. I keep my 3DS easily. I
only have a PS4.
Mine would PC. But surprisingly, mine would be PS4 and 3DS as well. So that's 2. Tom?
I probably would have to keep the PS4 because it's the one I've used the most recently.
There you go. PS4 wins. Ben Naylor. Who is the sexiest Sonic character? And you can't pick the humans. I think that was for Dave.
Yeah.
I think we're going to store these up.
He's going to pick Amy or, I don't know, any other characters.
I don't know. Andy Strange. Destiny's fun to play and all that, but don't you think it winning Game of the Year only over Alien Isolation is like when Forrest Gump won Best Picture over Pulp Fiction? What was the live reaction like when it happened?
Who voted for this, though?
I would pick Forrest Gump over Pulp Fiction's Best Picture. Is that bad?
History is against you, Miller.
Oh, all right. I like that movie.
The reaction, well, it was an interesting one. Yeah. People were like, at first I was like, you're fucking joking, which was, I think, the reaction of a lot of people in there. But then people were like, okay, well, we get it. People like Destiny.
A lot of Destiny's got, because it's got so much negativity around it, people, I don't think they forget that a lot of people really love it as well.
And that there is argument to be made about Destiny's mechanics. And
It has a lot of people playing it for a lot of hours. That's all I was saying. There's a very big community who do not want to stop playing it. I think it's a fair win, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have taken Alien all day. Every time I think about Alien, I just think, man, that really was fucking well built, wasn't it?
It's a very good game. Very good critical game as well, looking for that kind of stuff. Nick Griffiths, we've kind of answered this, but I'll go over it. And then, at time of writing, blah, blah, blah. Can you comment on the Candy Banana takeover? As Patreon members, to me at least, it felt like as if we were helping improve the site, but now someone has come in with what I presume is a chunk of money and wanting something in return. It's not that at all, as we mentioned. They said, did they see the revenue stream and decide they wanted a piece of it? They've literally, it's just, they like what we do. They want to be a part of it. We carry on as normal. Tom Benson, I imagine that you guys get a lot of question about how you got into games journalism, but I think what's more interesting is how you really got into gaming. What games do you think had an impact on you the most, perhaps got you thinking about a career to do with gaming, whatever that may be?
Well, I was just a dick who liked arguing with people.
I mean, the games, it was like Kung Fu and Mario Brothers on the NES of all things.
Bruce Lee
the NES
fucking
in general.
game on Commodore 64.
Yeah, just stuff like that.
I can't remember what the first game I saw was or anything, but I imagine it was like an old Amstrad game or something. I mean, I remember getting a Commodore 64. Before that, I had an Amstrad, but that came with its own monitor that was green. Just a green screened monitor. So that was the color scheme. It was like playing on like a Game Boy or something. In
terms of using it to get into, I kind of just, it sounds terrible. I wanted to get into it, but it was never like a long-term plan. It was just kind of finished university and thought what I'd like to do and just waited for, and lucked out. Saw an opportunity and took it and was very lucky.
I came back from the pub and having left.
Walked into EA.
No, well, having left Sega, and at that point I'd left Sega and I was like, I really wanted to get, because I'd applied to the publisher we worked at before. And didn't get the job, which I think went to Chris McMahon, which now looking back on it, it's like Man United buying Bebe. But no, actually, Chris McMahon's very good. And I came back from the pub and I was feeling like, whoa, why can't I get into this if these guys can? And then suddenly I just thought, right, I'll fire up the website. And there it was. I was like, oh, there's a job opportunity. So
you got to keep an eye out.
I used to just write reviews for retail websites, because you could do like Amazon reviews now, but before Amazon was like as big as it is. Yeah. So loads of websites. There was a website called Streets Online. Used to pay you £1 credit per review.
It's pretty good.
I did millions.
That's actually not bad,
good idea.
A pound
people do
per
that
review.
Now.
Just write 20.
Yeah, 20 quid.
Exactly.
I think. Hello and welcome to the Video Gamer Community Club UK podcast. You ask some questions, we're going to answer them. I'm joined today by Mr. Stephen W. Burns.
Hello.
Mr. Tom Orry.
Hello.
We've done a lot of podcasting today.
Yep.
Let's do more. We're just going to crack straight on with it because, like I say, these are questions that we asked you to send in. You sent them in. We'll go through all of them. If we don't ask your question, it's because it was offensive or rude. Because I did go through some of them, and I think we genuinely upset people. So that's the only reason we won't ask it. But we're going to start with a man named Peter. Thank you very much, Peter. And he's asked, I don't know how we can answer this, but he says, how many Dave pilots are in the works at this moment in time? And if, why isn't it at least 5?
Well,
I mean, there's no Dave pilots. The new one up today, Jim and Dave Get Sexy.
Yeah,
you can go and see that. And Burns,
Dave's too good for pilots.
He's too good for pilots. What does that mean?
He just goes straight in for the...
Oh, right, because he's going to produce gold.
He gets a full series straight away.
And someone also, Burns, Peter wants to know if you're going to find out how Kane and Lynch 2 ends.
Well, I know.
How does it end? It's old now. You can
drop
talk
the
about
camera
it.
and walk off, don't you, in a plane?
Yeah, it ends...
Is that really what happens? Do you find out who's on the camera?
No.
Oh,
you engage in it because you're trying to get out of Shanghai. You engage in a shootout in a hangar. And then you're like, well, that's fucked it. So now we're going to go and hijack a passenger plane. And it ends with you just running onto a passenger plane like, this can't get any worse.
Really?
Yeah, it's awesome.
So there probably should have been a third game then, really.
Well, I'm not sure how they would have gotten out of that one.
Well, that's true. Good point. Moving on, Daniel Broadby wants to know, in your humble and not so humble opinions, not very nice, which existing franchise needs to die and which dead franchise needs to come back or be resurrected for the current gen?
Kane Lynch?
See, we get this question. We don't usually answer it on the podcast just because we get or the normal podcast, for lack of a better term, because we get asked it a lot, and I don't know. That's the thing. The only game I really want to see back is RC Pro-Am.
PGR.
Wow.
Oh, PGR as
Yeah,
well,
Tom,
actually.
I don't know what should
Really
die
wants
though.
PGR.
I don't know.
I don't
Well,
think
I would kill
die. Maybe
Assassin's
take-
Creed.
Yeah,
I think Assassin's Creed needs a
break.
year off. What else needs? The WWE games need a year off.
Maybe Battlefield needs a year off.
They may have it. Well, they're not really because Hardline's just come out. I mean, a DICE Battlefield would probably get a year off.
I'd like to
this.
see them. I mean, lots of games could do with a break. Like, I'd love to see FIFA given like
2 years. Can you imagine what they could do?
Because it doesn't feel like it's evolved enough from last gen.
It's not going to happen though.
No.
That's the problem with all the games we've just
Can't.
mentioned is that, financials. I think Assassin's Creed took some time off and then came back and then reinvented itself. I may very well be tempted to play it, but in its current state, it's just the same flipping thing every year. And I was like, I don't want to play this
Just
anymore.
playing catch up, aren't they?
That's the problem. That's the problem. But Daniel, the problem you have is that, all these companies are publicly traded. They all answer to shareholders and stockholders who
Yep.
get their bonuses off the big games that get released each year. If you don't have that,
There
you
you
don't
go.
get your cash. So, which is fine. That's business. That's corporations. But, it is a shame. Ian Breslin writes, Miller, I'm sure you're like me and my mates and you've created yourself in various wrestling games that have been released. What was your character name and what were some of the best bits that your mates came up with? In the interest of fairness, mine was Blue Blazer Breslin or Triple B, and the rest of my mates, and one of my mates was Dick McSavage. There you go. I never used to create myself in wrestling. If I did, I was just Simon Miller. I never gave myself I was part of the NWO era. Real names, real attitude, real life.
Yeah.
You got to believe. Tom, ever create yourself in a wrestling game?
No, I created myself in Tiger Woods game once.